Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my persuasive essay speech, and it's about the effects of pollution. Our environment and the way it's taken care of is the reason it's so riddled with pollution, and I personally think it's a big problem. Like, we could be doing so much more to help out. We can be recycling, we can be planting trees, we can be doing so many other things that could be helping our environment instead of doing things that destroy it. Okay, take a look. Take a look around everywhere you go. Look on the highway when you're driving down. What do you see? You'll see a bunch of bottles, a bunch of cans, a bunch of trash bags thrown everywhere. We can do stuff to help that. You can get a cleanup team and just have a highway pickup. Or when you go to the beach, what do you see? You see trash thrown everywhere. You see beer cans, bottles. You see a bunch of stuff thrown everywhere. What can you do to help that? You can have a beach cleanup. You can have a highway cleanup. There's thousands of people that are willing to volunteer themselves for community service just to go and help the environment. I know in Corpus Christi and South Padre Island they have coastline cleanups. They get thousands of volunteers and they just pick up around thousands of pounds of trash just all along the coastline. And it's crazy like how much littering there is. It's amazing what people can do. The effects of pollution affect society as a whole, and we're all getting affected by it whether we know it or not. We don't know it, but soon we'll realize that the damage we've done is going to be too much to heal. The environment is the basis of life. Whether you realize it or not, is the reason we're alive. The ecosystem you're around is the reason you're alive. Your air is produced by plants and trees, but we might not have any air for much longer if deforestation continues on its path. Whether you believe it or not, the choices you make every day affect the environment. Littering after a party, driving your fancy car, even smoking a cigarette. All of these choices can affect the environment in a drastic way if no one is there to do something about it. Just know that the decisions you make today or tomorrow can affect the planet for the next year, 100 years, maybe even 450 years. Like say, did you know that it takes plastic 450 years to decompose? 450 years is a long time. Like, did you know that we've been using fossil fuels for 200 years and we're almost out of them? Coal, gas, and oil. Almost done, and we've only used them for 200 years. They were sitting underground for about 6 to 7 billion years. Fossil fuels were underground for about 650 million years before we found them. By the way, did you know that Earth is about 4.5 billion years old? Man has only been here for 140,000 years. Divide that up into, say 4.5 billion years is one day, and 140,000 years of mankind is put into that day. If you put us into that day, we were only here for 3 seconds. Look at all the damage we've done in 3 seconds. We carelessly take advantage of the time we've had here on Earth. We've come from living in the forest to living in cities full of pollution. Little do people know is that pollution has had the most destruction on the environment out of all things. I'm just trying to get at the point is that if we don't start changing our ways, we're in for some bad memes. Like, we could be recycling instead of littering. We could be rebuilding instead of destroying. And that's a path for a brighter future in my book. The reason we're alive, and another reason that we don't burn to death, is because of the atmosphere. It's a thin layer of a bunch of elements up in the sky, and it's getting thin. So thin that it could just disappear out of nowhere one day. And that means bye-bye to the human race and everything else on this planet. The reason it's wasting away so easily is because we create so many things that destroy it. We create gases that float up into the air and just waste it away. We create chemicals in power plants that just float up and waste it away. We also create bombs capable of mass destruction. And we're capable of making these bombs that can destroy the human race potentially in a future war. But why can't we make a bond with each other and save the human race? There's been many ecosystems and environments that we've torn down because of deforestation, and Unfortunately, it's been the end for some races of animals that have been drawn to extinction, such as the dodo bird, and pretty soon it looks like some species of rhinos are gonna go, maybe even in this next year coming up. So these rare animals are getting killed, poached, and so rather than driving these magnificent creatures to extinction, we should be working on preserving their natural habitats and keeping them safe. So from here on out, I apologize to future generations that have to deal with a planet that can't fix itself. I just want y'all to know it's not too late to save the planet. We can still wake up, quit our idiotic ways, because there's not much time left to help the world.